Hey folks, Benjamin from Samy's Camera. I'm here at our Hollywood Fairfax showroom taking a look at a brand new product release, the Canon C400. I've got our friend Matt here from Canon. Well, we're all really looking forward to the new C400 release, Matt.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here. It's always great to come to Samy's. I love this place from way back. Before I even worked at Canon, I would be a Samy's regular. So it's great to be here. And yes, we're very excited about our new C400 camera.
So looking at the C400, who do you think this camera is built for?
Everyone. Full stop. No, it's really a camera that has 1 foot firmly in cinema and 1 foot firmly in the broadcast world. It really offers a broad feature set for both of those worlds of shooting. And when I say cinema, I mean everyone from the independent filmmaker, the run and gunner, all the way up to high-end cinema sets.
You guys have definitely packed a lot of I/O into this new camera.
Yes.
It's just covered with power distribution and video ins and outs.
Absolutely. I'd love to give you sort of a tour of the camera all around.
Break it down.
First of all, it is an RF mount 6K camera, and we've got our new Back-Illuminated Stacked CMOS sensor. And this is our new sensor technology in the Cinema EOS world. And it has the fastest readout speed yet available for us. And the technology also allows us to now cover 100% of the sensor with our autofocus. And the autofocus is now, you can set it for people detect or animal detect, and it'll grab people from the back of their heads in focus. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, cool. Well, the advancements that Canon has made in their autofocus technology do make it a viable tool for our filmmakers when they need to have those small teams tracking dynamically moving subjects out in the field. So it's great to see you pushing that technology forward and adding additional coverage for that 100%.
Absolutely.
So Matt, C400's a 6K platform. Can you break down the different recording modes and codecs available in the camera?
Absolutely. So it is a 6K sensor, a full 6K sensor, a little more resolution than our 5.9K sensor that you had on the C500 Mark II. And it does offer our Cinema Raw Lite in our 3 different flavors, if you will. There's our Raw LT, our Raw ST, and our Raw HQ, which are just different data rates of our Raw. They're all 12-bit, and you're getting all the benefits of RAW at different data rates depending on what your workflow is and what your card capacity is and all of that.
Great. So are we recording RAW externally or in the camera?
That's all internal. So there's
great.
one CF Express card port and there's one SD card port. So you're going to do all of your RAW onto the CF Express, and you can shoot a proxy onto the SD card.
Oh, great. So this camera is going to stay even more compact than some cinema customers that are maybe used to having those Atomos recorders or external devices. Really, we're able to get all those different codecs due to the dual card slots internally on the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also offer, of course, our Canon XF AVC codec, which is our 422 10-bit codec, in case you want a little more flexibility with the data rates. And now we offer 2 brand new codecs on this camera that we haven't offered before. We have XF AVC-S and XF HEVC-S. And these get data rates down extremely low, down to like 9 megabits a second if you want to go straight to streaming with it or something like that. So really flexible in the whole range of data rates and whatever your workflow permits.
Wow, there's just so much versatility and so many customizable options built into this camera at this compact size and at this incredible price point.
Also, just as long as we're talking about the front of the camera, you've also got a lens port now, which is a 12-pin Hiroshi port to power your zoom lenses. Previously, on previous models, that only was available on the expansion units and was in the back of the camera, so you had to get an extension cable to make the connection, but now it's built right into the front. But as you said, a lot of the potential of this camera is in the back and all of the input and output ports. So as I pan around to the back of this camera, you can really see that it has pretty much everything available that you could possibly want. I can't really believe how much they were able to squeeze into this small form factor. Because of the small amount of real estate, you do have mini XLRs now, like the C70. Great. So you'll get adapters from your full-size XLRs.
We have phantom power and everything we need for
all
those.
of that, yes.
Great.
So it's just all the functionality of a full-size XLR, just mini,
yep.
in order to fit in the smaller space. You've got your 3G SDI, which is the monitor output. You've got your 12G SDI, which is the SDI output. You've still got your HDMI output, so you can come out of that. But the real beauty of this that gives it extra functionality beyond what our previous cameras gave you without expansion units is these DIN connectors. There's two DIN connectors, one of which is time code, which was, obviously on all the cinema cameras. The other DIN connector is assignable in the menus, and you can either have that for Genlock, sync, or return video from a switcher. So that's built right into the camera now for live broadcast, live events, those sorts of things.
Wow. It's incredible the broadcast capabilities you guys have built into such a compact package, especially at this price point. It's really exciting for a lot of our live customers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it really helps out also that we have the Ethernet port as well built right into the camera now. So you can do IP control of the camera, but you can also now harness the power of VR for VR productions. Great. So we have the Canon VR metadata that's coming off of the lenses in terms of distortion mapping and all of that, and that can be sent out real time through the Ethernet port to your Unreal Engine or whatever you need. Or you can do post effects where you kind of take away the lens distortion, add the VFX, and then you can re-add the lens distortion in there. So all of that metadata is now available straight through the Ethernet. And I never metadata I didn't like, so.
So it seems like a really standout feature of this new camera platform, from what I can tell, an industry first, triple base ISO.
Triple base ISO, yes indeed. So all of our previous cameras had, in Canon Log 2 and 3, had a base ISO of 800. And that's one of the triple bases here. So what this new camera offers is in Canon Log 2 or Canon Log 3, you now have 3 base ISOs of 800, 3200, and 12,800. And what this means is this sensor is giving you about 16 stops of dynamic range. And every time you select a new base ISO, you are centering that dynamic range. You're resetting it around that base ISO.
Great.
So it's not necessarily about noise level, although it will help that. It's really about harnessing the power of that dynamic range and resetting it again if you need to go into those low light situations so that you have that full spread of dynamic range. So what this means is a shooter can choose now whether they want to prioritize the signal to noise ratio or whether they want to prioritize the dynamic range. For example, if you set base 3200 ISO, but then you decide to work at camera ISO 1600, it'll be a much cleaner image. If you actually work below the base, it'll clean up the noise even more, but then you're going to be slightly sliding that dynamic range scale, and you might get 15 stops instead of 16 stops. But that might be all right for you because you're still going to be working at the higher ISOs with much lower noise. So you can really kind of make those decisions while you're out in the field. It gives you that flexibility.
Great. What does it look like when you go from one of these base ISOs to another? Is that something we can do during a shot? How's that handled in the camera?
Yeah, so it's a menu setting. There's actually 4 base ISO settings. One is auto. So you can set it at base ISO in auto mode, and then as you hit each of those different ISOs in the camera, it'll reset you to those bases. Or you can actually set the camera for each of those bases. So it's something you would do ahead of time. Only auto is sort of going to be sliding as you move. Otherwise, it's something you set ahead of time, and you can make that adjustment in the menu.
Great. Well, having all these broadcast features, having this incredible extended sensitivity and triple base ISO, I could see this camera sitting at home in these broadcasts and live environments just as equally to ENG or people that take great advantage of available light, like documentary filmmakers. So a lot of versatility in this compact package from Canon. It's an exciting release.
It really is. It really is. And one thing I want to add about its feature set for broadcast and for live events is we now have a auto clear scan mode. So auto clear scan is going to be able to detect the cadence of an LED wall or a flicker that you might have, even if you're shooting in an office building and some fluorescents are flickering. The camera can be put into auto clear scan mode, and then it will detect that cadence and dial that out. So it's a really handy feature.
Yeah, that's great. In the world of mixed lighting that we encounter today, unlike ever before, these can be technical issues that sometimes we don't even catch until the post-process when we find that a single lamp or fixture is creating an issue in the frame. So that auto clear scan feature sounds like an awesome new tool for our filmmakers.
Yeah.
So alongside the C400 launch, we also got a new RF L series lens, the 35 f1.4. What is it? Voice coil
VCM technology, so this is voice coil motor.
Great.
So what this means is there's some of the elements of the lens are actually being suspended in a magnetic field when the lens is powered up through the camera, and that makes for much faster and silent autofocus.
Great.
So you won't hear any of that movement. It won't translate through to your soundtrack or anything like that. It's going to be fast and silent. And what this lens is, it's the first in a new series of these lenses that are going to have the VCM technology and an independent iris ring. So it's kind of 1 foot in stills, 1 foot in cinema.
Great.
Just like our previous 24 to 105 f2.8 that had an independent iris ring. And again, really an eye towards cinema while still coming from the stills. So you're still calling them f-stops and not t-stops because it comes from the stills. But there's a whole new series now that wants to be more cinema friendly, even down to the lack of focus breathing. So this lens just naturally has very little focus breathing. As you're racking focus, you won't see that inadvertent change in field of view. But the voice coil motor on this lens is actually helping out with that as well.
Oh, great.
Trying to minimize that focus breathing.
I know a lot of our customers were waiting for a 35-1.4.
Yes.
And it's really exciting that Canon have not only brought out that focal length to give it to the RF customers, but they've expanded all these controls. It's a really compact and lightweight lens, easy for our gimbal customers or people that are hand holding to carry this all day long. But they've packed in more controls on the side of it. So when we take a look at this, you're going to see we've got, this additional encoder on the front?
Yeah, so you've got the control ring on the front, which a lot of our RF, all of our RF lenses are equipped with, and you can assign that to anything you would like. And then, as I say, it has an independent iris ring that you can move all the way to the closed position and lock it, and then it becomes auto, or it can be independently moved, but it's not a click ring, it's continuous. So for cinema shooters, that's absolutely essential. To have that feature.
Great. You know what I'd love to do right now is actually take the camera out into the parking lot here at Samy's Fairfax and see how it does in that environment.
That sounds great. Let's do that.
Cool, let's go. All right, so me and Matt are outside our Hollywood Fairfax location in the parking lot. And I just want to talk a little bit about how this camera is great for our customers that benefit from compact cameras with tons of solutions. It's a really bright day out here today, Matt.
It is a really bright day out here, but it's not 100 degrees yet, so that's a win. But yeah, to accommodate the brightness, luckily we have our built-in ND filters out here, so we can use the plus and minus buttons here and do 2, 4, and 6 stops of ND, or we could put the camera in extended ND mode and get to 8 and 10 stops of ND. So that's nice and handy.
So the battery on the back of the camera looks a little bit larger than what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, this is our high capacity battery. It's a little bigger than the battery we were having upstairs. This is actually the battery that comes with the camera. So you're gonna get about 2.5 hours of battery time out of this guy.
Awesome.
And also you can see that the top handle's a little different than our previous top handles. It's connected in 3 points of contact now. And so it's all thumb tightening, so you don't need a special tool to tighten those or anything. And it's a lot more rugged connection.
So if I'm hanging that from an easy rig or something like that, a little bit more secure connection on the top of the camera?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the viewing system is organized a little differently too, to be a little more flexible. You can now move the LCD along the track if you want it closer or farther from your eye. It's connected with a USB-C style connector now, as is the side handle.
Great. Cool to see a more standardized connector used in the future. Maybe we'll see some third-party companies in the future expand some capabilities with that standardized USB connection. Well, at Samy's, we can't wait to see what you, our talented filmmakers, are going to do with this tool. Seems like Canon has really unlocked a lot of new features for our customers. We invite you to come into Samy's or call your sales technician, place a pre-order for the new C400, or come into one of our demo days or our showroom, check it out, and see what this camera can do for you.